The college baseball experience, May 30th, college baseball picks edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account that is built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus. And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the college baseball experience. It's one of the best days in the college baseball calendar. We've got college baseball NCAA tournament regionals beginning today, Friday, May 30th. And joining me, Noah Bieniek, on the show to dissect a lot of the bettable games, because we do have some one versus fours that, quite frankly, shouldn't really be touched. Johnny Venezia, welcome in, my friend, for another time on the show this week. Big week, as always. How are we doing, and how do we like the board today?
No, babe, been seeing a lot of you lately. Can't get enough of your gorgeous face here. But we're talking some college baseball, man. This is the best time of year. The day's finally here. It's the night before the tournament starts. I feel like a kid getting ready to go to sleep soon, waiting for Santa Claus to come down the chimney and want to see what kind of Christmas presents he left wrapped under the tree for me. And we got a full slate tomorrow. 12 to 12, that's usually reserved for Sunday football, where I sit in front of the TV like an absolute fucking slob for 12 hours. But now we get it for college baseball, and we get it for 3 days in a row. No, actually 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped. I don't even know. I don't even know how to honestly express myself at this moment. This is unbelievable. Best time of the year, no question.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I mean, today is like the day. We get 16 2 versus 3 games where we're going to see odds for all of them. Tomorrow, it's going to be an absolute shit show because some teams will be doing double headers with elimination games and, on Saturday. So you may not get odds for the nightcap games, but or I should say that's Sunday, but tomorrow is actually the really good day where you might get some 3 versus 4s odds and 1 versus 2s. Sunday is what I'm talking about, where it might be a shit show. You might not get odds on a ton of games. You'd only really see them for like 16 or whatever. But I mean, we've got real time to dissect a lot of these games. We're only going to go deep onto some of the 2s versus 3s that are bettable, like I said, and the 1s versus 4s. We'll talk about them at the end, whether we're attacking some of the totals or putting them in a moneyline parlay, or if we like some of the 4s outright at some of the prices. Quickly on this one, the first 2 versus 3 game of the day is East Carolina, Florida in Conway. Gators are minus 315. That's what you get when you get a really hot 2 seed coming in. East Carolina plus 230 with Ethan Norby, their dude, on the mound. He's 7-5 on the year with a 3.81 ERA and 82.2 innings with 109 strikeouts, 22 walks, a 2.18 SIERA, 2.16 batting average against. Do we fancy East Carolina at all, Johnny, up against Florida and Liam Peterson on the bump for the Gators?
I mean, so this is it's funny because a lot of times at least I do, have trouble separating what I took in a future when I believe in a team versus like a single game matchup. I think East Carolina is definitely live. I think we can both agree, like coming in, we didn't believe in East Carolina. We thought they were going to have a down year, and they did. But they ended up winning a relatively easy conference tournament, with the exception of like Tulane. And, UTSA, I don't really think cared that much. But in any case, they're still a dangerous team with a great coach in Cliff Godwin. But further than that, they have a pretty good Friday guy in Ethan Norby, who's had some pretty great starts, including a 19 strikeout performance against Coastal Carolina back in March. They're definitely live. But ultimately, I picked Florida to go to the College World Series. So mathematically, it's possible. But the Gators losing this game, it's very unlikely that they will come back to win that region. So I like Florida here. I think Liam Peterson can match up with Norby. I think the offense for Florida is way better than what ECU has. And I think the Gators get it done.
I'm going to fire on the Pirates plus 230 with Norby on the bump. And I just feel like it's an all out type of game from Cliff Godwin and the Pirates. Like you're going to throw the kitchen sink here to try to get in that 1-0 battle because I think both of these teams really can't afford to fall into that losers bracket. Norby hasn't been super sharp lately. I mean, he was battling a little bit of arm tightness, but he threw 3 times during the AAC tournament. He's going to go out there for this team, and it's their best shot to win. And Liam Peterson in the month of May only had a 4.96 ERA. So I think East Carolina, they have a new mojo. It feels like a new season for them. I'm gonna that's plus 230. I mean, that's pizza money on ECU to win a game. I mean, for some teams, you're betting plus 230 on them to win a regional. So East Carolina, I'll take them in this game here. And let's move to Knoxville, where Cincinnati and Wake Forest are going to play each other. One probable pitcher, one pitcher that I'm currently projecting. The one that I did see float out there today was Nathan Taylor for Cincinnati, which we kind of assumed. This has been their dog this season. He was probably top 5, top 3 starting pitcher in the Big 12 this year. 6-1 with a 270. 6-2 with a 3.67 ERA, 81 innings, 84 strikeouts, 32 walks with a 3.40 Sierra. And then Blake Morningstar, who I'm thinking will probably pitch for the Deacons, went 6-1 this season, 2.71 ERA in 73 innings with 82 strikeouts, 25 walks. In his last 5 starts, he's been really good with a 3.76 ERA. Opponents are just hitting 212 against him. He started out as the Sunday guy for this team. He's pitched his way into the Friday night role. Johnny, I'm interested to know where you're going in this matchup.
I like Cincinnati. We talked about this pretty aggressively throughout the week. And, here's what it comes down to. Cincinnati has the pitching advantage. I like Blake Morningstar. I think he's their best starter. I don't really like what the Deacons had on the mound this year overall. It's definitely a far cry from what they were last year and the year before without a legitimate ace. But Morningstar is very talented. The bullpen is shaky. But further than that, I think this region is going to be a real tall order to try and contain the run game of Cincinnati. That's their MO. That's what they do, and they do it as well as anybody. And it's not just the steals. It's grabbing the extra 90 feet. It's the double steals. It's just constantly applying pressure, innings 1 through 9. And none of these catchers are really ranked near the top of the board in terms of throwing out runners and preventing steals. So Cincinnati's got a big advantage there. But not to mention, they got some boppers in their lineup, man. They got the Big 12 Player of the Year in Carrington Cross. And Nathan Taylor is, in my opinion, a pitching advantage over Blake Morningstar. So you're getting Cincinnati at plus 124, plus 125, who's playing great baseball right now, who also has been in playoff mode for the last month. Meanwhile, Wake Forest has kind of come ass backwards into this tournament. They haven't really done anything special. They kind of just, stacked up enough wins, but nothing really looked that impressive. So Cincinnati plus money is a definite play for me. That's an official on the card.
Yeah, I'm going in on Cincinnati too. This is a spot where I'm really bullish. If Cincinnati's going to take a single game in this regional, it better be this one with Taylor on the bump. Because outside of him, I wouldn't necessarily say that they have a pitching advantage anywhere else. The bullpen's all right. The rest of the starting rotation's not that great. But like you mentioned, this team is very, skilled, and they have an identity offensively. And they play in a big park at home in Cincinnati. Now they're heading down to a shoebox in Knoxville, where, Tennessee and Wake Forest power numbers are inflated with a small ballpark. Both of them, their home parks are small. Cincinnati can play, and Jordan Bischel coach teams have a nature of doing this, a habit of doing this. 2021 Central Michigan. I had a couple of buddies on that team. They only hit 12 home runs the entire year, and they go out and they hit half their home run total in one regional, in the South Bend regional. And I had a friend tell me that, the balls that they were using, the seams were lower. So it allows the balls to fly further out. And you see that a lot with these 4s and 3 seeds that, are using balls fresh out of the box, whereas a lot of teams, out of the SEC and whatnot, they're getting fresh balls every other weekend, and they're strictly on brand NCAA baseballs, top notch. And a lot of other leagues, the Big 12 is probably a league that has good balls, but what I'm saying is sometimes for the NCAA tournament, it might just be they're putting in a fresh batch of offensive friendly balls, is one takeaway that could very well happen once again this year after we saw an offensive year that was a little bit down of home run numbers across the board. Cincinnati, I think, could be live in this one and live in the regional as, they drew the 1 seed and the 2 seeds that had the worst fielding percentages out of the field of 64, which is kind of an incredible draw for the way that Cincinnati plays. So plus 124. Let's jump in on Cincinnati. Shout out to Leonardo DiCaprio. He's asking for an Arizona Cal Poly prediction. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. But for right now, Johnny, I like Arizona. It's minus 115 both ways. I'm not necessarily confident in the pick. I don't know if I'm firing on it yet, because I do believe that Cal Poly's ace Griffin Ness is quality, and they do have a really good lineup. Your thoughts?
I like Arizona. I think Arizona's the better team. I think they got the better players. I think they got the better pitcher. It's probably going to be Owen Kremkowski. Griffin Ness is their best pitcher for Cal Poly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been solid this year, but they play in the Big West. They're not really playing against the Big 12, the best, third best conference in college baseball. And I'm not slighting the Big West, but
yeah, I thought it was a good conference this year, to be honest.
But let's face it, it's not the Big 12. They don't have the kind of offenses they do, other than UC Irvine. So what I would say is this: Owen Kremkowski's kind of blossomed into that Friday role towards the end of the season, and he's pitched really well. He pitched amazing in the Big 12 tournament, and Arizona's got 2 studs in their lineup that can carry the team by themselves. Brennan Summerhill, we talked about him preseason for Zona when we were highlighting our Big 12 show. Summerhill is a very good baseball player, and his numbers are solid, but he's a lot better than what his numbers show ultimately. He does a lot more for his team than what that reflects in the box score. And he missed some time, so you're not going to get the full sample size this year. Summerhill's a guy that is a legit first-round candidate. If he has a big June, he could sneak inside the top 15. Mason White is – I love this kid. I felt like Mason White had legit first-round juice coming into the year. He has a bad swing and miss problem, so that's really where it caps him. But he's capable of carrying the team. I mean, he did it in the Big 12 tournament. He went nuts. So those 2 guys alone are worth the price of minus 115. But then you add what I believe is the pitching advantage of Kremkowski, and you have a pretty solid amount of contributors in the Zona lineup otherwise. Cal Poly is just – they're a hit team. They're a hit above everything else. But it's not good enough to like overcome the lack of power and not enough speed overall. So the coin flip here doesn't really make sense to me. I would probably make Arizona a little bit closer to like minus 140. I don't think Cal Poly is a dud here. I think they have a shot, but I like the Wildcats to sneak this one out. We know Arizona baseball likes to play close games, and they very rarely blow teams out. So I would imagine this is going to be a close game for most, if not all of it. But give me the Wildcats at a fair minus 115.
I agree with you. I'd probably make this minus 130, minus 140, but I wasn't sure if I was willing to bet on it. When we've got our biggest slate of the year, I'll pick my spots a little bit more. I'll be a little bit more picky. In the Clemson regional, we have the 3 seed Kentucky, the 2 seed West Virginia. Kentucky hasn't announced a probable starter yet, but West Virginia has. That's their lefty, Griffin Kern, a guy that reminds me a whole lot of Derek Clark from last year, who's 5-2 on the season, 3.32 ERA and 86.2 innings. He's got 92 strikeouts, just 27 walks, a 3.24 Sierra, 2.41 batting average against. His last 3 starts, he's been great, 2.86 ERA. And West Virginia's bullpen has been bad the last 3 weeks. We'll see how a breath of fresh air outside of the Big 12 treats them. with Kentucky, not necessarily the greatest offense in the world when it comes to hitting for average or for power. But they are able to manufacture some runs. I think Nick McKay may get the ball here. I doubt that they're going to want to go Ben Cleaver, a lefty, because West Virginia's lineup.
It is Cleaver.
It is Cleaver.
I'm pretty sure it's Cleaver. I'm like 85% sure it's Cleaver.
Did you see it was Cleaver? Because I didn't see it was Cleaver.
I saw Cleaver on our chart that we have.
Oh, I had Nick McKay. I didn't think that was confirmed. So yeah, I don't think you want to throw a lefty against this West Virginia lineup. I can definitely be wrong. This is just me projecting who they may throw. I didn't see anything when I looked. And the last time I looked was like around 6:00. So if it has come out since, possibly, but yeah, Nick McKay has been the Saturday guy for a lot of them. The SEC weekends, Cleaver was the Sunday guy. That was another reason why maybe they didn't make the jump, in my opinion. But Cleaver didn't throw in the SEC tournament. Neither did McKay, for what it's worth. Scott Roos threw that game. But McKay is who I had. If he goes, I would like West Virginia. But I'm going to hold off because I do think I see this as an even game, pretty close, contested. Johnny, your thoughts here? Who you taking, West Virginia or Kentucky?
I don't have anything official. I think it's 50-50. I don't really like either team. I can make a case for both teams, mainly West Virginia, I think, has more talent. Griffin Kern is the better pitcher, no matter who Kentucky throws. I like what Griffin Kern's done. I think despite some bad performances late in the year, Carson Estridge in the bullpen coming over from the starting rotation is a strong arm. West Virginia's lineup top to bottom, I think, is better. But Kentucky is more fundamentally sound. And we covered this throughout the week. Like, they don't make mistakes. They play small ball. They do the little things right. They will bunt you to death. And they've been here before. And they made that run last year. While I don't like Nick Mingione, he knows how to maximize his guys. He knows how to maximize the talent. So Kentucky being minus 105 is interesting. I'd probably wait a little bit closer to game time. I want to see where this line ends up because I don't really have a strong opinion on this contest. I don't really have a strong opinion on this contest at the moment. I think because I feel like in the regional play, if I think a team outside of Clemson is most likely to win, I think it's probably Kentucky over West Virginia because despite the fact that they have 19 Q1 losses this year, they've faced much better competition throughout the season.
Yeah, if anything, I think my favorite pick is the under 10 in this matchup. It's minus 115 both ways there. I just think that it's going to be a lower scoring battle. And the way that West Virginia's lineup has been hitting recently, or lack thereof, outside of the first Big 12 tournament game, and counting the Kansas series and the K-State series, it's not been as great in run producing lately. Before we get to the other games on today's slate, the SGP guys are going live. They're going to be ripping packs live on air next Monday night. They'll be breaking a case of Panini Prisms with DAPS, and you can get 10% off your favorite team with the promo code SGPN. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/break to get in on the action. And SGPN is also brought to you by Edge Boost. It is the first ever bank account that is built for bettors, ensuring that all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards, get a 100% approval rating for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get $25 when you deposit $25, and Edge Boost will match that. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And it's time for Underdog Fantasy as they are going live on their Pick'em platform with NBA playoffs and their extender bonus. Hop in during game one, and the longer that the series goes, the bigger that the bonus will get. There will also probably be college baseball player projections this weekend. There has been spotty projections throughout the year. I'm assuming that they're probably not going to miss out on one of the biggest weekends of the season. So go over there, Underdog Fantasy, check that out. Sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick. plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And we're back here on the College Baseball Experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, joined alongside Johnny Venezia as we're running through the Friday slate of NCAA tournament games that we're going to have in college baseball today. Real quick, there's still time. The link is in the description of this YouTube video and the podcast description. Go over there, join our bracket contest that is being run on D1 Baseball. The winner will receive a $250 gift card to the SGPN store on our website. So hurry up and join in before noon when the first pitch happens. In the Nashville regional, Johnny, we have East Tennessee State, a frisky 3 seed, going up against Louisville, a 2 seed with not much pitching. No pitchers projected in this matchup currently. I think it might be Carter Fink for ETSU. He's been their Friday guy for much of the year. He's 6-4 with a 3.97 ERA in 68 innings with 56 strikeouts, 17 walks, a 4 Sierra, a 2.99 batting average against, which is not great going up against a Louisville lineup that can really stick it. And plus, he's got a 6.59 ERA in his last 3 starts. I have no idea where Louisville's going to go with their pitching. Frankly, I just know that they're going to show up to the ballpark ready to put up some runs. So the total in this matchup is we have a 14.5. First off, side or total? What do you like most in this game? What are your thoughts?
I made ETSU an official play. I love East Tennessee's offense. We've seen them throughout the year as a mid-major that's caused a lot of issues for these Power 4 teams in the midweek. And their offense is a wagon, bro. I mean, like they're drawing shades of what Campbell was in 2022 and 2023. Just an offense that is basically top 10 in most major offensive categories. A team that hits home runs, a team that hits for average, a team that can do a little bit of stealing, depth, multiple sources of production and more than production, absolute superstardom. Louisville, they've kind of been like Wake Forest, in my opinion, just drifting through. I think had Patrick Forbes been fully healthy and Peter Michael been healthy, we might be having a different conversation because Louisville's offense is solid. Like they've got some guys, man. They got Zion Rose, Eddie King, Ali Alisea. So there's production there, and they are very frisky. But I think the pitching is just all over the place. Or East Tennessee, at least you know what you're going to get. You know this offense is going to bang out. And they're an underdog here. And I think the fact that Louisville, even though they haven't played that well, isn't a big favorite shows that East Tennessee State is getting some respect. I'm personally a little surprised that the books know what's up because East Tennessee State didn't even open as a big underdog. I don't think they were anything bigger than like plus 110-ish. So I'm surprised the sports books even know about them. But they're getting respect on the market. So I like East Tennessee State here. I think they have an advantage, and I think they're somewhat live to win this region.
Yeah, to your point, we really didn't ever see betting odds throughout the season on East Tennessee State, so they didn't even know how to gauge the betting public and how they would act when they saw the Buccaneers pop up on the screen. The only thing that's holding me off there is like Louisville's pitching. I don't know who's gonna go. It could be Patrick Forbes, and if it's Forbes, I'm probably not willing to bet against it just because I've seen it in person. When it clicks, he's on, and I'm not willing to jump in front of that. Especially with Carter Fink, who's not been in great form with ETSU. I'd be more inclined to take the over 14.5 in this matchup. I agree with you that East Tennessee State's kind of live in this regional. Outside of Vanderbilt, they have the best balance of hitting and pitching. And to your point, top 10 in a lot of metrics, like you said. And they did end Tennessee's undefeated streak. Tennessee was the longest reigning team without a loss in this year's college baseball season, and the Bucks gave them their first loss. So definitely able to pull off some upsets against power conference teams. We'll see how they do on Friday. In the Auburn Regional, 3-seed Stetson up against 2-seed NC State. I didn't see projected pitchers for this matchup either. But if these teams stay with kind of their rotations or who threw first in the ASUN tournament for Stetson's case, it's probably Jonathan Gonzalez, who won ASUN Pitcher of the Year. He was 9-2, 2.26 ERA in 87.2 innings, 101 strikeouts, 18 walks with a 2.83 Sierra, 203 batting average against. In his last 4 starts, it's a 2.79 ERA. He's been grooving. And the lefty Dom Fritton could go for NC State. It's probably him or Marone. They bounced Marone to the top of the rotation, I think the second to final or the final weekend of the year. But Fritton on the season, he's been good. He's got a 4 flat ERA, 102 strikeouts and 83.1 innings. His last 3 starts have been a really good stretch for him over the last 2 months. It's not been great, but his last 3, it's 3.71 ERA. Johnny, I have a hard time really separating my 2 loves in this regional. I have futures on both of them to come out at plus money. NC State or Stetson for you?
So it's odd because I think this is a great region. A lot of teams that have an opportunity to win it. I picked NC State in this Auburn region. I picked them close to 3-1 because the experience factor with Elliott Avent and their pitching is pretty good, and they have a good bullpen. They have a lot of horses in the pen that are high quality, even though they haven't performed that well this year. And their offense isn't great, but it's timely. They have a couple guys that are just clutch. So in that regard, I would think NC State has to win in order to validate my handicap in that. But matchup wise, this is sort of like that ECU Florida thing. Matchup wise, I think Stetson is more than live because Jonathan Gonzalez, the ASUN Pitcher of the Year, has been awesome this year. And Stetson's got a really good offense. So when you combine that with the fact that you're getting Stetson at plus 200 out there, that doesn't make any sense. That's a number that is way too big. So what I ended up doing was, because I already have, and we talked about a good strategy was to take NC State and Stetson early in the week for this region because there's a good chance that one of those 2 teams can take down Auburn. So in order, I guess you could say it's a little bit of a hedge, but I like Stetson here plus 200 in straight game. I think they're going to have a pitching advantage with Jonathan Gonzalez over either Ryan Marone or Dom Fritton. And I think their offense, honestly, has a bit of a nod too. So give me Stetson here at plus 200.
All righty. I think you're selling me on Stetson, giving me a little bit more faith in my Hatters. Yeah, I mean, even if Jonathan Gonzalez doesn't go, because all year he was their number 2, he was their Saturday guy, and James Hayes was the day 1, the Friday guy, the game 1 guy, and he was a Georgia transfer. So I think it's priced with him on the bump, and if so, that would be accurately priced. With Gonzalez, I think there's a little bit of value here. Stetson's offense isn't tremendous, but they had been playing better down the stretch as they've been getting healthier. Interesting to note, the leadoff guy for the Hatters is Isaiah Barquette, an NC State transfer, and he's literally only had 7 strikeouts on the year. It's tremendous. He's one of the best hitters in the country. So, yeah, I mean, we've even got in the chat Austin Staley, an NC State fan with an NC State avatar and profile pic, saying Stetson plus 200 on an MGM. Seems like Stetson is a slam dunk here. So
I don't know about that. I mean, it's crazy. Obviously he pitches in the ASUN, so it's not an impressive conference, but
correct.
This is impressive. Gonzalez has a 1.95 ERA. He has 101 Ks to 18 walks in 87 2/3 innings. That's ridiculous. And it plays up now more than ever this time of year when you have a pitcher that not only can go deep into ball games as he's done most of the year, but is consistent with command and can locate nonstop. Because what kills you in this tournament, what's turned more games upside down than anything in this tournament is the walks. And Jonathan Gonzalez does not do that. Dom Fritton's been solid this year. Like he's a 4 ERA, but he's got 102 Ks and 34 walks in 83 and a third innings. He's pitched a lot better as of late. So, I understand the NC State favoritism by the books. And listen, I don't disagree to the point where like I like NC State to win the region. That was my official pick. But Stetson should be more like plus 140, plus 150, not plus 200.
Yeah. To your point, though, too, like Gonzalez's numbers are in the ASUN. Stetson had 150th strength of schedule, which is 49th out of 64 in this field. NC State had the 30th. So something to note there. But I have watched Jonathan Gonzalez quite a bit this year. Changeup's nasty. It's a lefty with the changeup. Give me that.
But hold on real quick. Let me tell you something though. Like, and we saw this last year. Stetson's offense is legit. Stetson can bang out. They were. I mean, granted, Florida State might have had one of the best weekend rotations last year. Florida State did down that Tallahassee regional, but they were hanging tough for a bit with that offense. And listen, Dom Fritton, for as much as he's turned it around lately, and he's had a solid year, especially in the ACC as a weekend guy. But he's had some blowout outings. I mean, he gave up six runs to Miami, 4 runs in 4 innings to Clemson. He gave up 5 earned to Louisville in 2 2/3, 5 earned to Virginia in 5 2/3, 4 earned to Duke in 5 2/3. So he's had some opportunities to where he can get beat a little bit.
I like the faith that you have in the offense. I do. It's giving me a little bit more confidence because throughout the year they just battled injuries. Maybe the numbers at face value are a little bit lower than they should be. Let's talk about who's next that we should jump into. Do you want to do TCU USC? The Horned Frogs are minus 200. Yeah. Trojans plus 154. All right. The total in this one, by the way, is 9. That's pretty low. We have Tommy Lepore confirmed, and for a 9 total, he's got a 6 flat ERA in his last 3 starts. This is a guy that runs it up into the high 90s, but hasn't been tremendous lately. Whereas Caden Aoki, I don't know if he's confirmed. This is my projection. He's not been listed anywhere that I've seen. In his last 5 starts, he's been really good. 2.28 ERA there. Lepore on the season, 2.89 ERA and 87.1 innings, 83 strikeouts, 26 walks, 2.23 batting average against. And Aoki on the year is 5-4 with a 4.21 ERA and 87.2 innings. He's got 81 strikeouts and just 14 walks, 3.16 Sierra. Johnny, are you on the Horned Frogs here, or do you like a side on the total?
It's crazy because if it's Caden Aoki with Tommy Lepore in the matchup, which is probably a top 3 pitching duel on Friday, 9 is a super low number. And I'm surprised we got 9. I thought we were going to get a little higher, and not because it can't happen, but I felt like the books might have been sleeping a bit here. I mean, it's come down because people have been betting it down since it opened, but I don't think this is low enough if it's Caden Aoki, because Caden Aoki's had a solid year. He's had some really good outings. A few blow-up outings have kind of ballooned his ERA, but one thing we know about Caden Aoki, this dude shows up in the big moment. He always has. I mean, case in point, last year against Arizona in the Pac-12 conference tournament final, he was dominating. He was dotting. And I think it could be a similar situation if it's Aoki. So the under's in play even at 9, but TCU is my pick to go to Omaha here. So I think they got to win this game. Minus 200 is a little steep. I'm not laying that, but I think it's a fine piece in a parlay. I have something with TCU involved in this game. Ultimately what it comes down to for me is USC's offense really isn't that good. You have one bat that you have to worry about, Ethan Hedges. After that, I think they're beatable. So give me the Horned Frogs, who've been playing really good ball lately and having an offense that's really scored a good amount of runs down the stretch.
What's up, Mike? Thanks for tuning back in. You and 70 others, my man. We went live closer to our normal time during the basketball season. It's nice to see We've got a bunch of you back in here for the NCAA tournament. Over 70 of you guys live watching right now as we just crossed the midnight hour. Let's jump into Hattiesburg, where Miami and Alabama are playing against each other. And we've got two projected pitchers here, two probable pitchers, I should say. For Miami, it's going to be A.J. Siskar. In 8 starts, he's 5-1 with a 3.77 ERA and 57.1 innings, 56 strikeouts, 14 walks. He's got a SIERA of 293, a batting average against of 205. His last 5 starts, he's been great, 279 ERA. He does have like a week of rest as he didn't pitch in the ACC tournament last weekend, but neither did Riley Quick, who in 13 starts has an 8-2 record, 3.54 ERA. In 56 innings, he's got 64 strikeouts, 20 walks, a 3.10 ERA, 3.10 SIERA, 2.55 batting average against. His last 4 starts, he's been good with a 3 ERA. Johnny, in this matchup, the total is 10. I'd be looking at an under. To me, these are the best 2 arms for these starting rotations that are really good, and the offenses haven't been great down the stretch of the season, especially Alabama. Miami had a little hot streak of 4 weekends where Daniel Cuvée was unconscious and kind of put the team on his shoulders, and they were, sweeping weekends, not only just winning weekends, and it got him into this tournament, but we saw that team cool right back down during the ACC tournament and against Virginia. Your thoughts on the under, and do you like a side in this game?
Stay away from the total because you have an offense in Miami that has the reincarnation of Yohandy Morales. Daniel Cuvée, I am such a fan of his. It was a joy to watch him last year. It's been a joy to watch him this year. And this is a guy who's certainly in the mix to go top 5 next year. He can carry an offense by himself. But the problem is their offense overall really isn't that good. So if Cuvée doesn't have a big game, I don't know if Miami's going to score that much unless Alabama and Riley Quick and their bullpen just decide to give out free passes like it's Halloween candy. Alabama's got a lot of boppers in their lineup as well, but they've had a really bad hit or miss situation going on, more miss than hit down the stretch. That's cost them. So you don't really know what you're going to get. But what I do know is I like Riley Quick here. I think this is a good move by Rob Vaughn. He's been their best arm. He's been pretty consistent all year. And A.J. Siskar is talented and he's done well, but he's a freshman. A lot of times, especially the fact that Siskar hasn't been a weekend rotation guy all year. So Siskar coming in as a freshman, a lot of times that doesn't always work out, as this is a moment too big for most rookies. Riley Quick's been here before, and I think ultimately Alabama's the better team, and I picked them to win the region. So I think they need this game, and minus 150 solid. I think I would be fine rolling with Riley Quick and minus 150 here. I don't know if I'd go past minus 160 though, because Bama's ability to disappear is a little concerning at times. So I think we're pretty set on the price.
Yeah, I will add that for as many times as we see a lot of freshmen kind of struggle and get that deer in the headlights look in the NCAA tournament, some of them are just I don't know what the right word is. They're just too naive for the moment. And I think that Siskar, in this spot could, and I'm betting on Alabama's offense that hasn't really been great in the final 6 weeks of the season. Granted, SEC play, maybe it's a breath of fresh air once they get out of it and they're facing an ACC team. But I think that Miami's rotation has been for real this year. Before we continue on with the rest of the slate, talking about a lot of the closer odds, bettable games, our job at SGPN is to help you find the best picks. And now we've got a new tool that takes things to a whole new level. You've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think of like a strikeout prop that wins at 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit at a certain range. So Power Trends, they're updated daily and are exclusive to Rhythm. There are no touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app today, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Get your 7-day free trial today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And SGPN has also teamed up with Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas as they are giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs during the stay. The winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league. That is 6 double king rooms. You can hold your draft at a cabana at Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. There will be limo transportation to and from the airport, a welcome party at Legacy Club for the league when you arrive, a reservation at the world's largest sportsbook with a $500 beverage credit for the league, and a 2-hour open bar package for the entire league at Overhang Bar. The contest is running from May 5th to June 30th. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa to enter today. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. For the true degens, the MyBookie money bag is there for you. And MyBookie also accepts customers from a ton of locations. It's easy to deposit, and you can get lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head over to MyBookie.ag, promo code TCESGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That is MyBookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. And we are home free on the college baseball experience. It's getting late. We already got Johnny yawning. We've got to get him in bed at a reasonable time tonight. Let's jump into the Oxford Regional, where we have Western Kentucky and Georgia Tech playing each other. We have probable pitchers in this matchup as well. Drew Whalen will get the ball for WKU. He's 9-2 on the season with a 3.17 ERA and 76.2 innings, 88 strikeouts, 29 walks with a 3.14 Sierra, 2.26 batting average against. His last 3 starts, it's a 5.63 ERA. And then for Georgia Tech, Tate McKee hasn't really been much better, a 9.43 ERA in the last 5 starts. Georgia Tech's minus 166 here with Western Kentucky, plus 130. The over could be worth a look as McKee, he's got a 5.18 ERA in 73 innings, 77 strikeouts, 36 walks, a 3.86 Sierra, 2.64 batting average against. The total is 13. Look, I think that Western Kentucky's pitching rotation and staff is incredible. They've got 11 arms with a sub 4.15 ERA with at least 20 innings pitched this year. That's really, really hard to match. However, that's a big however, because their strength of schedule this season has not been the greatest. We're looking at, where am I at here? We're looking at a 216th, which is not great. And compared to the field, it's the 7th worst strength of schedule. So how is this going to be able to play against a Georgia Tech lineup that has a lot of boppers, up to 7 guys that are hitting over 300 this season, plenty of guys that can put the ball out of the ballpark, and especially playing at Swayze Field where the ball can fly. It's an interesting play here. I would be taking the over as my favorite pick in this matchup. I think Georgia Tech might be able to win this thing too. Johnny, your thoughts?
I like Western Kentucky. I haven't believed in Georgia Tech this year, and it's not because of their offense. It's their pitching. I think their pitching has been a problem since day one. Tate McKee is talented, but he really hasn't been that good this year overall. And, when you're so limited in a pitching staff, you need at least one guy that's steady Eddie every week. Samuel Dutton does it for Auburn. Their Saturday guy, Brady Jones, was finishing the year strong, and he had a blow up against Clemson in the ACC tournament. The bullpen is nothing I like, except for Mason Patel. Mason Patel was a failed starter last year, and he's really found a new role in the pen this year, and he's done exceptional at it. But aside from that, I don't know if there's another reliable arm. Jaden Palin was definitely somebody I liked early in the year, and I think he's like that kid's he's got big balls. So, you need a guy like that that's able to come in a pressure cooker moment. But I think Western Kentucky's pitching is going to be too much. They have so many arms. They have so many bullpen arms. Their offense isn't like elite, but it's good and it does certain things well. They have the second best player in this region in Ryan Weidman. Ryan Weidman is a superstar. He's batting 400. He's got 40 bags. He's got 10 homers. He's an extra base hitter. He can play in the field. And they have other guys. I just think Western Kentucky, like I'll admit, I don't like how they finished the year. I really think that is more of a detriment. But to their credit, despite having to rely on like all these walk-off wins in the conference tournament just to even get here, I mean, on the plus side, that shows resilience. Like they would get down and they would be forced to come back. I mean, that's not reliable, but they're capable of doing that. I think Georgia Tech hasn't really beaten a good team all year, and they're going to run into somebody in a mid-major that can cause problems with anybody because of the amount of quality pitching that they have. So give me Western Kentucky. I made that an official play. That's plus 140 on on one sec. That's plus 140 on Caesars. So give me the Hilltoppers, man, for the nice upset.
All right, so we're indirectly basically having a lock battle here because I'm taking the over because I'm going to bet against the Western Kentucky pitching that I think hasn't really faced the toughest schedule yet either. We both kind of have the same handicap against the teams that we both like in this spot. So we'll see what comes out, what happens here. That's Western Kentucky, Georgia Tech minus 115 over 13 in that matchup. In the Eugene regional, Cal Poly and Arizona play each other. We talked about this one. That was at the top of the show, like the third game that we talked about because we had a super chat there. We were both on Arizona. It's minus 115 heads up right now. I would price it around minus 130. Johnny said even minus 140 that he jumped on Arizona. I'm a little bit more hesitant with the Wildcats and Kramkowski, who's got a 6.47 ERA in his last 3 starts, but he did look good in that Big 12 regional. Let's do the Chapel Hill regional. Ooh, this is a good one. This is my favorite bet of the day. I'm going to take Nebraska money line plus 145. I think this is incorrectly priced. We're going to see Malachi Witherspoon, not Kyson Witherspoon, the twin brother of the top 10 pick in this year's MLB draft. The twin brother has not been great. 7.80 ERA in his last 3 starts. On the year, he's 3-8 with a 5.53 ERA and 68.1 innings. He's got 82 strikeouts, 30 walks with a 3.41 Sierra, 2.70 batting average against. But he's going up against Nebraska's number 1 right now, Jackson Brockett, who has a 2.01 ERA in his last 7 appearances. In 60.2 innings this season, he's got a 3.41 ERA, 41 strikeouts, and 21 walks. This, I think, is 1, a pitching mismatch, but 2, you have a red-hot Nebraska team who just won the Big Ten title. They won it because they had a second life after pretty much they should have lost against Michigan State. Right fielder Parker Pico, unfortunately, drops a line drive fly ball that would have ended the game and eliminated Nebraska and ended their season. Yet they're on a magical run now. Johnny, are you in agreement with me on the Cornhuskers plus 145 in this spot?
I am. So Nebraska was like trending towards plus 220, I think, at one point. And as soon as the decision for Skip Johnson came out that he's throwing Malachi in this one, it torpedoed in favor of Nebraska. And it's come down $70 in some cases. I actually gave out Nebraska plus 170, which is on Bet Rivers. It's crazy how much money Nebraska has been getting in the last like 24 hours. But ultimately, Nebraska's got the pitching advantage, I think. Malachi Witherspoon is, he's been hit or miss this year. I mean, he's had a couple, like he's either 6 innings, 1 run, or he's 3 innings, 6 runs. And that's tough to overcome. And I don't think Oklahoma's offense is good enough. They only have 1 legitimate stud in their lineup in Easton Carmichael. They're a big base running team, which is interesting. But I feel like Nebraska's hot right now. They're feeling it. They got juice. I don't think they blew their load in the Big Ten tournament, which could be like a concern. But I feel like Nebraska here, plus money, coming in hot. is going to be able to handle Malachi Witherspoon, and that's why they're throwing their hottest arm right now in Jackson Brockett.
Yeah, 1,000%. And when you look at Oklahoma too, they have one of the worst fielding percentages in the field of 64 this year. That's usually a strength of Skip Johnson teams, and it just hasn't been this year. And the offense isn't good enough to make up for that, or starting pitching outside of really Kyson, because both Malachi and Cade Crossland really haven't pitched to their abilities. It's one of the more talented pitching staffs because the bullpen's really good. It's got a 3.90 bullpen ERA on the year, but when you've endured an injury to Cam Johnson and then your other two starting pitchers that filled in haven't been great, it's kind of spiraled the team. And I'm very surprised that Kyson Witherspoon's not throwing in game one. And I think they may bite it for that decision. So I realize you got to be risky in order to try to win a regional when you're up against it with a lackluster starting rotation. But yeah, I'm going to go Nebraska at plus money here. I think it's definitely worth it. We have next up matchup is, let's talk about Oklahoma State and Duke in the Athens regional. No probable pitcher here, but if Oklahoma State trots out the number one, that is Harrison Bodendorf, Hawaii transfer, who in 15 starts is 10-1 with a 2.77 ERA and 87.2 innings, 100 strikeouts, 27 walks, 282 Sierra. Opponents are hitting under 200 against him, and in his last 3 starts, it's a 1.70 ERA. He's been incredible down the final stretch of the year. Kind of got tagged in the Big 12 tournament. But yeah, like the last 8 or 9 starts, he's been unbelievable, and he's had one bad outing. If Duke keeps up with their same rotation, it would be Owen Prosch, who has an 11.25 ERA in his last 4 outings. Johnny, if it's Bodendorf, are you firing on the Cowboys here?
Firing on the Cowboys no matter what. They got 3 legit weekend arms, and they have the best rotation in this region. But Harrison Bodendorf's been awesome. He had a real case for Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, which he won. So listen, here's the deal. Like, I picked Oklahoma State to win this region for a reason, and pitching was the main part. But their offense, while it's not as good as it has been in years past, still has a lot of talent, and that comes in the form of Nolan Schubart leading the charge. That's our boy. Schubart is capable of carrying this offense. And the truth is, he's got a bad swing and miss problem. But if he's able to deliver, like the rest of this team does, but I think if he's able to deliver, he can get this done on his own. And Owen Prosch, I don't even know how long he's going to go, because it could go anywhere from 2 innings to 3 innings to 5 innings to 6 innings. Give me Oklahoma State. I have them at 10-1 to win the region. So they got to get this one done, and they're plus money. So give me the Pokes here.
Yeah, speaking of like a strikeout problem for Oklahoma State's lineup, walk issue for Duke's pitching staff. And it's not great at really just throwing strikes, which is not typical of Duke. Usually their staff is pretty good up and down. This year, there's been a little bit more cracks in that usually great bullpen. And yeah, I agree with you that Oklahoma State has a starting pitching matchup advantage 1,000%. And if they go to one of their better arms in a tight game, they'll be able to, I think, keep that lead. They've really got like 3 bullpen arms that I feel great about. Johnny, you got something else?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is an interesting point. So by the numbers, their bullpen's been awful, but they have not just high octane arms, but these guys are studs. Like Gabe Davis is a stud. He's had a bad year.
Yeah.
Like, it's not been the usual Gabe Davis. I personally thought moving him to starting rotation, that experiment was miserable from the jump. I didn't even think that should have ever happened. Ryan Urey
quickly ended for what it's worth.
Quickly ended. Ryan Urey is a lefty that I think was up to 102 in the fall.
It was a bad gun. It's like 96, but still it's high octane.
Especially as lefty. Like where is he? Hunter Watkins. This is an interesting arm because Hunter Watkins spent some decent time in the rotation. He was flirting between the Saturday, Sunday guy, and then ultimately they locked down the rotation. Hunter Watkins is talented. I know the ERA is a little bit bloated, but this kid is pretty talented. And, the big thing for him is the 13 home runs that he's given up. But for him to come in one inning and, piece this thing together, because listen, let me tell you something. If Harrison Bodendorf can come in, throw 6 or 7 good innings, then you piece it together with Ryan Urey and Gabe Davis. So I like I like the Pokes here. I think they're going to find a way.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll mention, I've said it on a couple other shows, Oklahoma State's got 3 good left-handed swinging power hitters in Nolan Schubert, Colin Bruggeman, and then Colin Ritchie. And the right field fence is 315. Now, I know Duke has some good left-handed swingers too, one in AJ Gracia. This weekend between these 4 teams, it's kind of going to be a home run derby. Is the main source of offense. So we'll see what happens if Oklahoma State can keep them in the ballpark. I think that they win this game. Plus 100 probably worth it. So yeah, the Cowboys are a good play there as well. Let's talk about Kansas State and UTSA in the Austin Regional. We have Jacob Frost going for the Wildcats. He's a left-handed arm who's 1-4 on the year in 14 starts, a 5.75 ERA, 61 innings, 70 strikeouts, 36 walks, a 3.94 Sierra. Opponents are hitting 239 against him. Johnny, in his last 4 starts, it's an 11.64 ERA. Zach Royce hasn't really been much better in his last 3 starts. It's 7.73. But he is 8-4 on the year with a 5.38 ERA and 83.2 innings, 75 strikeouts, 28 walks. UTSA is plus 105 here. I think the wrong team's favored. Kansas State's minus 135. But do you like an over 12.5 a little bit more in this matchup? What's your favorite play here?
I don't really like this game. I think UTSA is probably, they're more exciting. I think they got the offense, but the issue is Kansas State's they're like in this Kentucky bracket where they're not that good, but they're always like feisty and they come up in these big moments in June and find a way to execute and get it done. And they have experience against good competition for most of the year. I don't know if I can justify laying a price here in a coin flip matchup. So I'm off of it, but I think the over could be a good look because Frost has been bad and none of their starters are reliable. They're all like high 4+ ERAs, and UTSA can score. And I think Kansas State, the way they can manufacture runs, this could definitely get over 12.5. That'd probably be, if I was going to go somewhere, that'd probably be the look, but it's nothing official for me.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State, they're able to hit the long ball, and both of these teams positive WRC plus compared to a lot of the field. Maximus Martin, big hitter for K-State here. Same with Keegan O'Connor. And Mason Lytle's kind of the straw that stirs that road runners drink. I think that's a solid mid-major squad that will be definitely game for this one. And I think runs will be early and often here. I'll take the over 12.5 there at minus 115 in this matchup. We have in the Tallahassee Regional, maybe the most interesting matchup of the day because Northeastern hasn't announced their arm. I think it could be Will Jones, who's been their game 1 guy for a lot of the year. Mississippi State did announce their arm, which is a surprising one. Ben Davis only has 3 starts this season. He's been more of a reliever. He's thrown 52.1 innings. He's got a 3.96 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 22 walks, a 3.35 Sierra. And in the month of May, he's thrown 18 innings to a 1.50 ERA. However, Will Jones has thrown 18 innings in his last 3 starts. Zero. A big goose egg and earned runs allowed. The strength of schedule, though, for Northeastern's not been great, but Jones is 11-0 on the year, 182 ERA and 69.1 innings, 72 strikeouts, 17 walks. Johnny, we have Northeastern plus 105, Mississippi State minus 135, total at 10. What's your opinion on this matchup?
Northeastern getting plus money. The one thing I guess concerns me about Northeastern is like because they have 48 wins and they won 27 games in a row. You get this information. Everybody gets this information. It's like, oh wow, like Northeastern, they're a really good mid-major. They can surprise people. They're they're live. Maybe they win this region, and like you get that trendy two seed vibe. So that's the one thing I would say that concerns me. But I think matchup wise, Northeastern's in good shape here because truthfully, they have a lot of pitching, not just in the starting rotation, but they have a lot of bullpen pieces. They have a good offense. One guy we know has been dominating for years is Cam Maldonado. And Mississippi State, I understand not going Pico Con. It's the Kyson Witherspoon theory here. But Ben Davis, that's not really scaring me if I'm Northeastern. And offensively, they have a couple guys that are good. I mean, Ace Reese is a stud, but aside from that, like Bryce Chance, Noah Sullivan, I think Northeastern getting plus money is the vibe here.
I'm back and forth. I don't know if I've even made my decision on this matchup because I do think that if Will Jones throws, he's not like an overpowering southpaw. And Mississippi State crushes left-handed pitching. That's why I'm not 1,000% sold that Jones does throw here. Mississippi State. What?
I said I probably would have thrown Gottsman when I was doing the Breaking Bet podcast earlier tonight. I projected it as if Gottsman was going to throw. I felt like that was probably the better matchup for Northeastern.
Yeah, probably the better matchup. I just went because Jones has been the Friday guy for a lot of the year for the Huskies. So if they don't switch anything, that would be the guy. But yeah, I don't necessarily have a pick that I love in this game yet. If Jones goes, I might like Mississippi State a lot. If it's a right-handed arm that usually gets weak contact, and that's all of Northeastern's staff is they're not going to blow anybody away. But a lot of teams struggle to hit off of them. They just played a weak schedule, like I've mentioned a lot this week. Their best 2 wins this season have been Kansas State twice in a midweek. They're bottom 10 in strength of schedule in the field. I like the Bulldogs here, but I don't have a whole lot of faith. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the pick, but I'm going to go Mississippi State. Let's
ride the Huskies, bitch.
They could be all right long term in the regional, but today in the matchup, I don't know if I necessarily love it today. Yeah, runs might be at a premium in that game. Let's talk about, DBU Rhode Island is – who do you think is going to throw for URI? Do you think it's going to be Levesque or Urania? Did you project that?
Honestly, you'd have a better idea than I do. I haven't really followed URI baseball much since that football score against William and Mary, like the second week of the year. But Dallas Baptist is Dallas Baptist is going to probably save James Ellwanger as they have. He hasn't really been – he's their best pitcher, but he's been the Saturday guy since preseason.
Yeah, all year.
There's been a handful of times where I've seen that happen where a team has kept their best arm for Saturday, not just in the tournament, but in the whole season. So it'll probably be Micah Buckham?
Yeah. Ryan Borberg is the guy that I had just because he's thrown like 3 state Fridays. But yeah, Micah Bucknam was the Friday guy for the first 10-ish weeks, and he kind of fell out of favor into the bullpen. But yeah, neither pitcher confirmed there. Not a great feeling. Both bullpens, not great. If it's Tristan Levesque, though, it's interesting. He had a really good start early on in the year against Oregon. That put him on the map. But yeah, I'm going to hold off for right now. Let's do in Fayetteville, Creighton against Kansas. The Blue Jays are plus 114. Kansas is minus 145. Dominic Bailey, he is 7-4 this season with a 5.34 ERA and 91 innings. He's got 84 strikeouts, 32 walks. a 377 SIERA, 247 batting average against. His last 3 starts have been all right. It's a 5.82 ERA. But for Creighton, it's Dominic Cancellieri. And in 12 starts, he has a 194 ERA in 51 innings, 54 strikeouts, 21 walks with a 3.53 ERA. His last 7 starts, this guy's been almost unhittable with a 1.84 ERA. The question is, how legit was the Big East this year? There were 3 teams top 45 RPI. However, they only got 1 tournament team in. It's been the question all week. How legitimately are you taking Creighton in this matchup, Johnny?
I mean, they could pitch. So, even against bad teams, you still have to respect pitching. Because pitching is the one thing that travels in baseball. But I picked Kansas to win this region as my official pick. 7-1, I gave them out at the beginning of the week. And it's a matchup you have to win. I think Dom Vagley, goes out there, throws a good game. He is capable of taking over a ball game. He can easily go out there and go 8 shutty. The Creighton offense isn't anything special. They're pedestrian at best. So the truth is, the real question is, what do we think Kansas offense is going to do against Cancellieri? This rock chalk offense has been really good this year. 100 home runs, batting just under 300 as a team. They don't really have any speed, but they have a star in Brady Ballinger, who was Big 12 Player of the Year caliber. So I don't think Cancellieri's seen any offense like this year. I'm not saying Kansas is like top 10, in any stretch of the imagination as an overall offense, but they're pretty good. And they have a lot of different guys that can do damage. So I like Kansas otherwise, but because I picked them, I have to feel obligated to go with them regardless. But this number's come down. A lot of people are betting Creighton, and they're kind of getting that feel like, hey, Kansas is overrated. There's this sleeper mid-major team, this other trendy dog like a Northeastern. Let's bet them. And as a result, the numbers shifted in favor of Creighton. And to be honest, I'm fine with it. I don't care if people want to bet Creighton. I like Kansas, so I'm probably just going to wait and see if more people are going to bet Creighton and maybe get Kansas down to like minus 135.
I don't love Creighton at this price at all. I don't know if I even love them in the matchup. Yeah, their pitching's been great. Again, kind of the Northeastern thing. Against who? The 181st in strength of schedule, and the offense has been dog water, like against that strength of schedule. So I do think that even if Cancellieri goes 6 or 7, the bullpen's good for Creighton, but it's not as good as Cancellieri. And Kansas has seen good arms this year. It's not impossible for them to hit good pitching. The Jayhawks are top 16 team in home runs per game too, and Fayetteville's going to play. It's going to cater to the long ball. And in some public press conferences, Ed Service, who I should note, it's going to be his last year. It's his swan song as head coach of the Blue Jays. He was a little nervous about keeping both Arkansas and Kansas in the ballpark, as he should be. These are both 2 of the best home run hitting offenses in the country. And with that, I'm going to take Kansas. I don't necessarily love Vaguely on the mound with this spot. I'm not going to bet it. But they're the side that I'd point you to in this matchup. Let's talk about the final 2 versus 3 seed that has a bettable price on Friday is in the Los Angeles Regional, the nightcap. Arizona State and UC Irvine. The Anteaters are minus 130. The Sun Devils are plus 100. We do have probable pitchers in this matchup too. Stumbled over that word there. But Ben Jacobs, the southpaw for Arizona State's going to go. He's 3-3 on the year in 15 starts with a 5.03 ERA, 78.2 innings. He's got 114 strikeouts, 40 walks with a 268 SIERA, a 234 batting average against. However, in his last 4 starts, it's not been great. 7.40 ERA. UC Irvine's going to move up Trevor Hansen from the Saturday role to the Friday. And in 15 starts this season, he's 9-2, 3.24 ERA in 89 innings. He's got 87 strikeouts, 29 walks with a 3.46 Sierra and 2.44 batting average against. His last 4 starts, he's been pretty average with a 4.44 ERA. Johnny, I'm probably going to take the Anteaters in this matchup just because Jacobs has been sputtering lately, and I think UC Irvine's an underrated squad. This was a team that, I think it has really good balance between offense and pitching. This has always been a really good pitching staff, but this year the lineup has really been able to carry their own weight. They were earlier this season up for a super regional seed and kind of fell out of favor the last 4 weeks. They kind of struggled. I think this team could fit like a hot, cold, hot narrative. Give me the Anteaters in this game, minus 130. Your thoughts?
I like Irvine. I picked Irvine to win this region. I believe they're the most complete team in this region. They have what's now in the second half of the year a really good starting staff. They have the Big West pitcher of the year and reliever Ricky Ojeda, which if you don't understand how hard it is to win a conference pitcher of the year as a reliever, you better recognize. Ricky Ojeda is this guy that's going to come in out of a piggyback role on a Friday out of the pen and can throw 3 or 4 innings or one inning and close it down. Very versatile, Swiss Army knife. The offense is 5 guys deep, 5 stars deep, I should say, perennial stars. Anthony Martinez, Golden Spikes preseason watch list, is their best player. He got hurt this year, and he also had a down year, so the numbers aren't going to reflect that, but he is that guy. Chase Call, one of my favorites. He's been a stud all year. Jacob McCombs, Colin Yaman, they have dudes, and they're a complete team. And I understand that they didn't finish the year strong, but I'm not overly concerned because they are just so talented, and I think they're going to get this done. And listen, on the flip side, man, Arizona State was a team I've liked all year, but I've watched so much Arizona State baseball, and I can't tell you how sick I am. It's sickening to watch them. Their bullpen is a disaster. Their bullpen blows so many leads. Their starting pitching has one of a guy who I'm really fond of in Ben Jacobs, a guy who I thought had a legit chance to make a case for a preseason first round draft pick this year. Big lefty with strikeout stuff out the ass, but he is so inconsistent, and he has a command problem. And I've seen it so many times this year. I don't know if I could trust them. While Arizona State might be the most talented team in this region, they're not the most complete. And in terms of their offense, they're studs. They have so many studs, but they also pick bad times to just not show up, strike out in big moments, fail to get a runner over, fail to get a runner in, sack flies. They can't do that stuff consistently. And one of the issues I think they're going to run into, they are almost an entirely lefty lineup. And that's not going to play well when they have to face Ricky Ojeda late in the game. So if UC Irvine, say, goes into the 7th inning with a 3-run lead and Ricky Ojeda comes out, it's going to be tough for them to come back. So, and by the way, Arizona State was a minus 130 favorite. Irvine was about even money, give or take. This thing completely flipped. So a lot of people are betting Irvine right now.
There we go. Yeah, I like Irvine too in this matchup. I don't know if I love them to the point where I'm going to bet them, but minus 130 seems pretty fair if you like what you're hearing on that matchup. Johnny, we skipped over a lot of the 1 versus 4 seeds because, quite frankly, a lot of these matchups, the odds on them are quite ridiculous when it comes to the money lines. Some totals could be pretty interesting, but I'll have 1 or 2 or a couple on my card when it comes to Twitter when I'll post them tomorrow. I want to talk about we'll first do a parlay of teams that you feel like are not going to lose their opening round game, whether they're throwing off or whether they're throwing their number 1. Do you have a 1 seed or even a 1 or 2 seeds parlay for opening day of NCAA tournament regionals?
A 1 or 2 seed parlay that I feel like will win is what you're saying.
Yeah, just teams that you don't think are going to lose their opening round game. Do you have a parlay out there?
Yeah, I have. Let me pull it up. I have OK State, Kansas, Bama plus 471. Little risky. So it's maybe a bit against. It's a bit against like what you were saying, but I think those are two favorites and one small dog that all have a pitching advantage and all have the offensive advantage, and you're getting a fair number. But if we're looking at teams that I think really look good for a win as a 2 seed, and I want to parlay it. Why don't you go first, and I'm just browsing here.
So yeah, my juice bag of 5 picks would be Florida State against Bethune-Cookman, Coastal Carolina against Fairfield, Vanderbilt against Wright State, Oregon State against St. Mary's, and Oregon against Utah Valley. Florida State's throwing Joey Vellini, who, albeit they're number 2, he's still very good, and I don't think it's much of a step down from Jamie Arnold. So I think the Seminoles are going to be all right. Coastal Carolina's got a really nice trio of starting pitchers, and their bullpen's 4 or 5 deep that I like. Hosting a regional, I don't think they're going to lose that first game. They're going to set themselves up pretty all right here. They dropped the first game in 2022 or 23 against Ryder, one of those 2 years. I don't think they want to go there again. Vanderbilt, Wright State's pitching is terrible this year. I think it might be Griffin Page, who's probably their best arm, but even still hasn't been tremendous for him this season. Oregon State against St. Mary's. I just think that St. Mary's kind of, last weekend, I think they played 6 games, 23 innings on Sunday to win that WCC tournament. I think that conference was not the greatest this year. It was a really down year for the WCC. And then Oregon up against Utah Valley. I think that Oregon at home in PK Park, they'll be able to have their way over the Wolverines. This one's a little bit interesting. This is probably my riskier one of the 5 because I don't know who's going to pitch for Oregon yet. And so, but I think that if it's either Colin Clark, Grinzel, or Wrights, they'll be all right in that matchup. So all that comes out to plus 120. Johnny, did I buy you enough time to maybe look at some?
Yeah, let's go something separate here. DBU, Dallas Baptist, regardless of who they throw against Rhode Island, I think their offense is going to be able to do enough. Typically, I don't trust Dallas Baptist in the postseason, but I think against Rhode Island, that should be fair game. I mean, if you can't beat Rhode Island, there's a serious problem. Vanderbilt, same points you said. J.D. Thompson's going. Wright State, they're in Vanderbilt. I think they're going to be ready to play. And let's go with somebody a little bit smaller, TCU. I think TCU, Tommy Lepore, it's not enough to just win your first game in this tournament, in this regional, but you can't lose a game where your ace is throwing. So I like Tommy Lepore, TCU. That comes out to plus 129, 3 legs.
All right. And then the 1 seed most likely to lose. And Johnny, I'm going in on this one. I like it quite a bit. It's an in-state little brother in USC Upstate. I think they have a chance to knock off Clemson, as the Tigers are not throwing their ace Aiden Knock. It's Drew Titsworth, and I want to love Titsworth, 1, because it's an awesome name, 2, he's from Michigan, the home state. But in his last 5 starts, he's got a 6.05 ERA. I don't know if Clemson's taken this Spartans team seriously enough, because Amp Phillips, their ace, who is throwing in this matchup, in 11 starts, he's 7-2 with a 3.58 ERA in 78 innings, 72 strikeouts, 28 walks, 375 Sierra, 208 batting average against. His last 3 starts have been stellar with a 1.42 ERA. I think Amp Phillips is the real deal because the Big South can really stick it. That's a very offensive conference, one of the more offensive mid-major conferences in the country. And Upstate, I mean, they've already seen Clemson once this year. It didn't go their way. It was a midweek matchup too. So their pitching was stretched much thinner. Some of these 4 seeds can be frisky with their ace on the bump. And especially since Clemson's throwing off, I think it really opens the door for Upstate. Shop around, make sure you got the best price. Right now I'm seeing it plus 210 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this all week. So if anybody didn't listen to our Monday podcast or our podcast yesterday or today's Thursday. Yeah, Monday or Wednesday's podcast. So we both said that the 2 4 seeds most likely to win outright is going to be Fresno State and Upstate. And I have a lot of experience watching Upstate because I had several futures on Campbell in the past few years. And every time Campbell was trying to win the Big South, Upstate was the one team trying to poke him in the ass. I agree with every point you said. And when I found out it was Drew Titsworth today, not Aiden Canuck, I was like, I think this is an Upstate spot. I picked Clemson to win the region, but it wasn't like a convincing pick because I felt this is the second biggest up for grab regions, and Upstate is live. They have a great offense, and they're in a small park.
Yep.
And the fact is Clemson has been super streaky this year, and they've been on the wrong side of being streaky as of late. The fact is Drew Titsworth throwing, and he's been solid since he moved into the rotation. But I think the mental aspect, like you said, I feel like they're probably not taking Upstate seriously. I just feel like that is a possibility here. So I gave out Upstate a plus 265 on Bet Rivers, which is an insane price. It's insane. And then on Fresno State's side, I gave them out at plus 240. I've been calling for Fresno State's upset since Monday when lines came out. I think UCLA is the most vulnerable 1 seed in the tournament here. I think there's a realistic chance that they could finish 4th in their own region.
They could.
I think it's possible. So the fact is UCLA is not – they don't even have like a legitimate arm that they can throw that's pure dominance. They don't have a legit Friday guy. They just have a few like solid pitchers. They're solid, and they're Big Ten solid. They're not even like SEC solid or ACC solid. I think Fresno State's gonna have the pitching advantage with Jack Anchor on the mound. We covered Jack Anchor. He's got 111 Ks, so 20 walks in like 90 innings. His bloated 5-something ERA is a mirage because his Sierra is sub 3, and they have a perennial star in Murph Gray. Fresno State is not getting enough respect. I think those two are live. I played them both. Full unit, gave them both out. And I got news for you. If you have like 20, I don't know what people's units are, but say you're $100 better. Your unit is $100. Throw like $25 on a Upstate Fresno State parlay. It's like plus 900 on DK. $25 for a little fun. I think it's possible. I think those 2 4 seeds have a very good chance to win. If not one, both of them have a very good chance to win.
Yep. Yeah, KK, I know we skipped it kind of in depth, that Dallas Baptist Rhode Island game. We mentioned it a little bit. Johnny threw it in a parlay here too. But if we talked about all 32 games, it would be a 2-hour show. And
it almost is a 2-hour show.
We want to give people a little bit of time prior to noon to be able to listen to it. And Danny Dumbshit asks if Wright State is atop my Michigan rankings. The Raider gang is located in Dayton, Ohio. So that's about 6 hours from me. I do love Wright State's program. They're just not necessarily as good as they've been in years past. Still ran away with the Horizon League, though. But that's going to wrap up our show. My favorite bets of the day, to recap, I like East Carolina plus 230, and shop around for all the best prices here. Make sure that you, on your book or books that you use, are playing the best one here. Cincinnati plus 124, Stetson plus 200, Miami and Alabama under 10 at minus 115, Western Kentucky, Georgia Tech over 13 at minus 115, plus 170, Nebraska, plus 100, Oklahoma State money line, minus 115, Kansas State UTSA over 12.5, plus 210, USC Upstate. And I mean, Johnny co-signed it as well, plus 220 Fresno State. We've been talking about those 2 4 seeds all week as being the most live. Stay up to date on Twitter as well. Follow me, NoahB77 _. I'll post the final card. I'll be adding some of those 1 versus 4 seed totals as well. Dilly Dagger saying thank you for all the hard work this season. Other than UCLA and Clemson, what teams would you leave out of a moneyline parlay of all 1 seeds? I think Miami, Ohio is a frisky 1, and Tennessee kind of all over the place. They've been really hard to figure out this year. I wouldn't say they're coming into the NCAA tournament with the most momentum out of other national championship defending teams. Other 1 seeds, Johnny, other 1 seeds that you're a bit nervous about that you're not necessarily betting, but you're also not going to throw in a parlay.
Yeah, I hate to say it. But is there any scenario where you think Oregon State loses game 1 with Eric Segura on the mound?
No, I feel better about that one. I have that one actually in one of the parlay. It's not great odds, but that one was the juice bag one of all the 1 seeds that I feel.
Yeah, but like Oregon State's minus 425, which in terms of the 1 seeds is pretty light. That's one of the shorter prices on the 1 seeds. I get worried that Oregon State might be looking ahead here, and I don't know. Eric Segura has had some blowups, but other than them,
my thought process to buy you some time. Yeah. They've had a week off, so they'll be looking to shake off the rust. They're not throwing somebody other than like their number 1 over the last 5 weeks here has been Segura, and also they haven't had many home games this year. Sure, there could be some added pressure in hosting that regional. They do have some young guys on that team, but overall, I think that the fans will carry them to not only a victory here on Friday, but I think they win the regional.
What about Auburn? I think Auburn is because I don't know if because Auburn's not going with Samuel Dutton.
Yeah, Cam Tilley's pretty volatile. I don't have a whole lot of faith in him, but I don't have a whole lot of faith Central Connecticut State's going to be able to square up Tilley. He's got a sub 180 batting average against this year in the SEC. It's a pretty talented arm. He's got good stuff, but again, volatile.
I think Auburn is a team that I'd be a little bit weary of. I don't like their pitching because let's say like Cam Tilley last 2 appearances, three earned, 3 innings, 4 earned, 5 innings. So let's say Cam Tilley gets roughed up and he gets a quick hook and he gives up three runs again in 3 innings, right? And maybe, this is a little bit more of a battle early on that they would have hoped for. Then who do you go with?
They've got 2 all right and capable bullpen arms in Hertzler and Myers.
Yeah, but you're getting to a point where if you have to start using those guys, then you're trying everything you can to not have to use guys like that, your high leverage bullpen arms in a 1 versus 4 game when you're going to have to face either NC State or Stetson in game 2. And even though you have Dutton on the mound, you still want to be able to have those guys available. So I'm just merely pointing out that was it worth, a look to keep Auburn out of your parlays as a 1 seed. Like Central Connecticut State isn't anything special, but we've seen a decent amount of times over the years where you have one of these random 4 seeds or a couple of these underdogs that are just not, they just don't go away. They don't die. And truthfully, like this Central Connecticut, despite the fact that, they play shit competition, they've got some good arms. They got Wyatt Cameron, who's been their best reliever, sub 2 ERA. They have Alex Dreyfus. He's only got 12 2/3 innings, but it's sub 3 ERA. They have Richie Kersetter, who's got a 3.5. They probably go Vincent Borghese, a 4.22 ERA, decent strikeout to walk ratio. All I'm saying is, like, it's possible. I probably would say Auburn is somebody that I wouldn't want to be playing on a parlay here.
Johnny, before we got out of here, we just crossed the 1,000 viewer mark across all platforms. We've got over 85 watching live right now at 1 a.m. Let the people know where they can find your picks throughout the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously I'm on Twitter _JohnnyVTV. On my Twitter, in my bio, you will see a link to my subscriptions. You can get my postseason second half college baseball package for $100 for the month. And it's been up for a while, so it could have gotten the entire package, but I give out all my picks, trending almost 55 units plus on the year. I have a full locked, stocked, and barreled 10-play card for Friday. So get on it now, get all my winners, get all the futures and every single play, plus access to the Discord. So sign up today.
Yeah, you can follow him also on social media at _JohnnyVTV. You can follow me at NoahB77 _ I'll be posting all of my official picks on the morning of prior to a lot of the games that will take place. Also, I'll be writing articles over on 11point7.com of some of my best bets. And then I'll be here every single night with you guys, running through a lot of the slate, doing pretty much what we did tonight with a lot of the bettable games on the slate. And that'll be Friday. So tonight, Saturday night, Sunday night, if there are multiple Monday games going on as well. So this has been the College Baseball Experience. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Make sure you follow the show at TCE on SGPN. You better start thinking about your experience. And we are out of here.